Kira858, and we're back for our campaign Reclamation, Season 1, Episode 17. We're glad to have you with us as we continue the story of House Chiron. We're going to jump into the session, but first, let's introduce our cast, have them say who they are, who they're playing, and any projects they're working on. And we start first, of course, it's time for our curveballs again. We're going to start first with Ari. If you'd like to talk about yourself.
This is unexpected, but hi, I am Ari, otherwise known as Three Possums, currently maybe inhabiting a pair of pajamas, but we don't know that yet. You can find me here, of course, on the Cookout as Yvain over in Rivenwood, when Rivenwood's actually airing. And here, of course, as Shay. You can find me over on the Bear Pen, where I'm a storyteller and a player in our Blood on the Bayou campaign, and over on Reroll's channel, where I play the lovely Layla on Earthia Nights, and then Sebastian on our new VTM show. You can find me at Small Shadow Snack on Twitter. It's Possums. I make no apologies anymore.
Like, I embrace it fully. All right, good to know. Good to know. Speaking of that, the wonderful Reeve, like to talk about yourself, who you're playing, and projects you're working on.
Hello everyone, I am at Big Dudery on all of the socials. You can also find out information about me on the Rerolls Twitter account as well, because that's where I post important stuff detailing that channel. You can find me DMing and storytelling over there for our Earthia Nights campaign and our V5, The Price of Power Chronicle, which you should definitely be checking out. But tonight I get to play the wonderful Kashan Chiron, who is trying to lead his house and is a bit disappointed in his family at the moment. But hopefully things are going to go well today, and hopefully there won't be any other consequences. And follow me on Twitter to find out all the other things I'm doing, because there's probably a long list, and I'm probably forgetting a few of them at the moment. But yeah, that's me.
All right. Well, speaking of disappointment, we'll go to the individual he was disappointed with. Di, if you'd like to talk about yourself, who you're playing, and project you're working on.
Hi, I'm Di. You can find me over on Twitter at Reclamation. You can also see me with these lovely people doing Price of Power. I love Tansy. She's a disaster. You're going to love her. Or not. I don't know. You can also see me on Friday nights on Thala Unbound. And yeah. Disappointment.
Wait, who are you playing?
Tansy. She's a today.
Yes.
See, right here we go. I'm playing Mare, who is very worried that she also is a disappointment and is not ready for any of the responsibilities she suddenly sees in front of her face.
Well, only time will tell. Well, speaking of that, we're going to transition over to Adrian, aka Aries. You'd like to talk about yourself, who you're playing, and projects you're working on.
Howdy ho, folks. I'm Adrian, or Aries, and I'm playing Jethrin Cloudpaw, the Leonin Paladin, who really just needs to convince these people that we gotta go save our king, and it's got nothing to do with the fact that he wants to propose to somebody. Also, I am on the Beer Pen. I'm a storyteller and I'm a player in a number of our games, and Blood on the Bayou Season 3 should be back now, which is really dope. I think it should be back now when this episode airs. Maybe. Who knows? Yeah, and you can check out all my socials and stuff at the Adrian Beer. Occasionally, I do post at the Halo Musings, where it's just like kind of like a couple of writings and stuff. But I really don't like to talk about myself a lot on that account. So it's just one of those things. That's me.
Oh, and of course, those shorts that you constantly put out, always on the grind. I see what you're doing. Speaking
yeah.
And of course, we have the wonderful DM, Juicin. If you'd like to talk about yourself, who you're playing, and projects you're working on.
Of course, I'll be playing the chorus. I'm just working on a bunch of different projects with you all, as always. I'm Di. You can find me on Twitter at Diachromaniac. Much enjoyable content there for your viewing pleasure. Very excited for D&D today.
All right. Oh yeah, and of course, for myself and yours truly, I am Kira858. I play the Sweet Bean Abrea, who was recently discovered about their friendship with a person who almost everyone distrusts. I think Di is perhaps the only one that's relatively neutral, maybe. But yeah, who knows? Maybe Abrea will be able to bridge that gap. They would desperately try hard to. Of course, you can find all of our content listed here at the Cookout TTRPGs, as well as our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Kira858, where we have a wide variety of TTRPG goodness. Of course, we have mini-series that's actually ending for season 1, so of course you'll be able to find all of that content on our YouTube channel as well. And as well, you should see a couple of new campaigns coming out in the near future. We'll save that for next time before we start going forward with that. But of course, if you want to make sure you stay right on top of all of our news, make sure to follow us on Twitter at TheKara858, as well as our Twitter page, The Cookout TTRPGs. And with that, I think it's about time we transition to our wonderful DM, Zach. Juicin'. Take it away.
Okay, I can do that. Last we left off, the head of House Kyran was kidnapped and taken into a pocket dimension of some sort, somewhere, somehow. And everyone proceeded to lose their minds. So we spend the episode primarily dealing with the fallout of everybody losing their minds and poor Shay suffering way more pain than one person should be forced to experience. And we left off during the fallout of that, where you all were speaking with each other and trying to sort out what to do next. So I will pass that question off onto you all. Is there any conversations you want to have? Or do you just want to tell me what you're doing?
I'd like to talk to people to see what's going on.
Yeah, I definitely want to talk to Kashad and be like,
Are we going to have a group huddle?
Is it a group huddle or just a solo combo between Mare and?
We can just talk to. We can talk
you
with
just
everyone.
walked back, right? We should probably all get together and talk about what happened.
That's fine.
Okay. Yeah. So Brea just takes their book back and then joins the group.
Well, the situation is not very good at the moment.
Well, I mean, we still have. And they look over towards the area where they thought they saw a shade transition to. I know he had to head back home, but I know Shay's probably worried. I'm not really sure why he's worried for, but
May I ask a point of clarification quick, Abrea?
yes.
And also for Zach as well. So I know when we ended last session, I as Jethrin had gone up to speak to Lorna, or is it Iorna and Shay?
Ari, I think it's Lorna.
Yeah, it's Lorna.
Okay, Lorna and Shay. So just for Lorna and Shay, have we rejoined the rest of the group or not yet?
So Lorna is going to go wherever Shay is going to go at the moment. So I assume that Shay is probably still being a sad boy outside. Are you being a sad boy outside, Shay?
He is in his element of sadness.
Yeah. So at the moment, they're probably still sitting there, and so you would probably be with them away from the rest of the group.
If they're having their private moments still, then I probably moved back towards the group.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
So you would know where they are. Yes.
Okay.
What Kashad said in chat.
All right. Sorry about that, Kira. There we go.
Oh, right.
No, it's all right. It's a good clarification.
Mm-hmm.
Shay's not currently with you all. Timmons is, but Timmons is very busy making tea and getting some snacks ready for everyone, since you need to have a long discussion. So Timmons is a little indisposed right now.
Is everyone doing all right?
I'm doing fine.
Actually, no. What?
Oh.
I'm not all right. This was... You can't just disappear on us like that.
Oh, my departure was not of my choosing. However, you will need to be able to operate without me.
I didn't know how we were going to get you back, if we could get you back.
There are things that are within our power to control, and there are things that are not. If you find yourselves unable to rescue me in the future, then you need to plan your next steps. Without me, the house cannot stand on only one pillar. Well, both of you need to be able to take charge should the situation demand it.
My lord, is that a directive?
Yes.
Wait, when you say both of you, are you talking about Mayor and Jethrin?
No, my
For the time
dear sweet
being,
O'Brien.
Jethrin would give you honorable advice if you found yourselves in such a position. I were to fall, Maravina would be in charge. If Maravina were to then fall, Albrea, you would be in charge of the house. However, you are underage for the time being, so it would fall on your advisors, so to speak, to steer you in the correct direction until you can make such decisions on your own.
Oh. Oh. Is this a mountain that you all climbed before?
Not particularly. Not that I know of, anyway.
Have you guys dealt with it? Have you all dealt with this a lot? Is this like normal for you?
I think the expectation has been there for a very long time, but the reality of it is very different, even if it was for 20, 30 minutes.
Oh.
You get time to learn things, and whether or not you do the right thing in that situation, it's scary without a safety net.
I was just wondering, because I was remember when we were talking about when our auntie died, everyone seemed so like ready to move on. I was really sad, so I thought maybe y'all are really used to people dying a lot.
One never grows used to losing someone close to you. However, with time and experience, you learn to take care of the problems that are in front of you before dealing with those that cannot be changed.
My mother likes to give the analogy of imagine you have a box, and inside that box is a ball of some sort, and one section of that box has a small button on it. That button is the button that's responsible for pain and emotions, and when you're younger or when something's new, the box is quite small, so if you shake it, there's a higher chance of the ball hitting the button. And as you get older, the box gets bigger, so there's less of a chance of that ball hitting the pain button, if that makes sense. It's always there, though.
Oh. I guess that makes sense.
Bad metaphor.
Well, I'm glad you're okay.
Samai, don't disappear like that again. Ever.
Intentions too.
It leaves me
caught off guard.
It leaves me with an inkling or a notion or a desire to try and find a way for myself to learn a form of disruptive magic that can stop another's magics, at least in the moment of casting. I believe
No
I've seen
one
you do
can-
such a thing, Master Bishop.
I have, but no one can be able to defend themselves against every avenue of attack. I was reckless and allowed myself to be separated, and as a result, I was defeated. As annoying as I find that, it was a mistake that I do not intend to repeat again. Use it as a lesson. We all have weaknesses. Sometimes we are not willing to accept that things have changed. But without understanding your weaknesses, you cannot grow.
That was very valid. I have an idea for once we sort out where we are going and what we've done. At some stage, it might be a good plan to take a trip to the Isle. Perhaps they could fashion some kind of, I don't know, bracelet or ring or some such that might be worn by the members of a household that would allow for easier location.
It is possible.
Brilliant.
Although I imagine that would be expensive. But, you know, precautions are a good thing.
Are you all ready to move forward?
I believe so.
May I ask, what would everybody like to do? I have some input I can give on my desires or my thought of a logical course of action here, but I'd like to hear from everybody. Especially yourself, Abra. You've let us in on a lot of information today, and we've let you in on some of our concerns, and I'm interested to know what you think would be the best step forward right now.
Oh, wow. Well, I want to help Shay. Shay, for some reason, is really angry. I don't really understand why he's really angry, but I just want to see if we can be able to make things better, because I feel like with a splitter like this, it makes it harder to work together as a group. So I want to see what we could do to kind of make Shay feel better.
Mr. Smirnovna?
I agree. I feel guilty over my actions towards Shay and his mother, and I think least we could do would be to indulge them on this
Exactly
next
happened
journey.
with his mother.
Well, everything happened very quickly, and when you mentioned change and having to adjust to change, that can take time. And sometimes when it's in the heat of battle, the middle of the moment, and you see your older brother disappear off in a shroud of magic to who knows where, emotions can run high. So I may have threatened Shay's mother.
Shard will walk over and give Maravina a hug.
Mare
Maybe
starts
not
crying.
Do not go and threaten our guest.
It was a mistake, and I've apologized. And she did help get you back. We would have been lost without her. But I feel like I owe Shay and his mother, a debt, both for rescuing you and for my actions.
I understand. I can assure you that I will be fine regardless of the situation, and you are more than capable of taking care of your problems without me, but I understand your pain.
Was was flying without a safety net for the first time, and apparently I hit the ground quite hard.
What will you do now?
Get up and try again, I suppose. What you taught me how to do.
What? Not matter how often you fail, it is only when you give up that you have disappointed any of us, really.
Think. Brea, I'm sorry to you too. I was not the role model you should have.
What do you mean? I'll be honest, what you did there made more sense. Cause I understand when people are confused when stuff like that happen. Like, I was just more confused actually when everyone seemed so calm when our auntie died. That was the most confusing thing for me. So I'm just trying to understand how things work, but you don't need to apologize. I understand.
Well, I was not the example to you that our brother has been to me. And it's the kind of example I think you deserve.
I'm just glad you're there, that's all.
I'm glad you're here too.
They'll probably give you a hug around your leg.
Excuse me, I still haven't let go of Kashad.
Okay.
And what of your ideas on all this, Master Kashad? What do you believe would be a good course of action for us?
Like to check on the king's location. However, I'm concerned about whatever these beings are planning to do. And I believe that we do owe Shay's family a debt. And the fact that they are not here tells me that Shay is not exactly excited with the way things were going while I was gone.
Well, if I may share my point of view, I would say that Mistress Lorna is, by all visible accounts, quite accomplished and capable. And I sensed quite a bit of savvy in Rhea when I met her. Her brother, perhaps, maybe a bit too trusting, but Rhea, I have a fair amount of faith that the two of them are old enough to begin a journey that they have undertaken. And they are within Justicar, we know this, which is good. I personally believe before we make the decision to try to find them, we ask what Mistress Lorna would like to do. My main concern, to be frank, is with our kingdom. We need to make sure our king can have a coronation. In that vein, I see we have two options. We can try get to the battlefield ourselves as quickly as possible, or we can perhaps go and seek the assistance of the Triumvirate, perhaps try and form some kind of alliance. That is what is on my mind mostly.
Let's go and speak with Shazy and his mother.
Okay. While they're walking over and they're having that conversation, Shay, are you just sitting?
Yes, he is. He's just taking a moment to decompress.
Oh, okay. As you find them a ways outside from the cave, walking up to them, you just see that they're sitting there where you left them, Jethrin, just leaning on each other, and it's silent.
You all right?
Yes, I'm fine.
First, I wish to offer a formal thank you to Lady Lorna and to you, Shay. Your family has done us a great service today.
Lorna just kind of she kind of turns around and looks at you, and she says, well, Shay didn't have the easiest time finding his first job, and it wouldn't do well to have a son that was unemployed, so
I suppose that is true. However, I do hope that Shay has begun to view this as more than a simple financial exchange. However, I believe there's the issue of finding your 2 children, is that correct?
that is one of the issues that's going on. How much do you all know about what's happened to the kingdom since you've been away?
We have had limited information. Perhaps you know more than we have been alerted to?
Well, is there anything you would like to know? I don't spend that much time in the capital, but well, I suppose I at least know more than you do at this point.
Well, I assume based on the answer, there are no more emergencies at the moment.
Well, the king is stuck on the front lines. It would be easier to show you, but he's holed up with all of his troops in some sort of castle that they managed to take on the front lines. Like I said, used to belong to some Telonian noble, but they're under siege right now.
Do you have any knowledge of how long they can sustain a siege?
I'm afraid that kind of warfare isn't really my expertise. I just have no idea.
Fair enough.
Depends on what resources the castle had to begin with.
We'll have to assume the worst for now. Are there any other emergencies?
Well, I don't know if it's an emergency, but well, the future king has been away. The married king has been wrestling with the council of the major nobility for some power. They're unwilling to accept him. However, they're much more willing to accept Robin, the young princess, and well, I don't think she's a very good ruler.
Understandable. But I do not understand. Are none of them able to lend aid to the current king in his predicament?
Well, the Griffin Riders they're not numerous enough to make a true difference in an all-out battle. They're mostly used by House Slatewing for scouting missions, and a number of them had been away on other business and travel recently. The mages will perhaps figure out something, but given what has happened to the Archmage, the only people I'm aware of capable of casting teleport or any spells that might make a difference in bringing key people to the front are Lady Talia Brightweaver, Prince Ian, and then she just stopped.
What of Lady Brightweaver?
Well, she seems rather frustrated by this fact based on what I've heard. But she seems to be spending most of her time tempering the worst of Robin's plans for the future of the kingdom.
It's not the time for such disorder.
DM, I have a question. Is it well known that the ex-evil person turned archmage was chosen instead of Lady Brightweaver?
I wouldn't say well known, but certainly within more of the inner circle, which would be the major nobility, and then you guys. In that case, it's well known in the sense that nobody was supposed to talk about it, so all of the major nobility found out, but they didn't really start going around telling everyone else or letting it become truly widespread because it would reflect poorly on them, and also potentially start things with the Brightweavers if other families were seen talking about it, which is probably something that some of them would want, but
yeah. We are aware of it though.
Absolutely, yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Do you know what's happening with Ian? Have you heard anything about Ian?
Honestly, no. She seems a little bit perturbed, when you've brought up something that someone hasn't thought about, she's like, wait a minute, I haven't. Why haven't I? And she kind of falls into thought.
Okay, was just wondering.
Master Kashad, are you able to send a message to the king?
But I admit that my recent conversation has left me weaker than I would like. But I will cast Sending to speak to the new king.
I have a suggestion.
Yes.
Perhaps, considering past events, the Lady Brightweaver might just want some assurances as to a station within the new kingdom. Perhaps if such assurances could be given, then maybe she would be able to lend aid to the king.
Once.
Sure,
I want to be sparse with my words. I don't have too much magical power left at the moment.
And are we sure we trust Lady Brightweaver enough to offer her a high-ranking position close to our family?
You know of anyone else of even comparable magical power at the moment?
Lorna does the she does the like sort of choking cough from someone who
Citizen of our kingdom? Who is it? I have no idea who Shay's mother is. In reference to other things, like is she a part? She's a part of our kingdom, right? It is.
it's not overt. It's just it's not overt. It's just one of those things where like you hear something and you're in the middle of like swallowing spit or whatever, and you're just like
Something you would like to say?
Oh, no, I don't think so.
Insight check.
Have the desire to become Archmage to the new king, Mr.
Oh God, no. Absolutely not. That sounds like possibly the worst position that someone could ever have.
Plus, you know how Dad feels about the city.
Yes, well, your father does hate the city.
But let's play this 25-word game.
What did you get on your insight check?
21.
You make the connection that she's saying that she believes she has equivalent power to Lady Brightweaver, or at least close enough. But it doesn't seem like she's interested in the position. That part seems to be true.
Kashaw gives her a side eye for a second before going back to what he was doing. Alright, well, first I will ascertain the king's current position. With any luck, they are capable of holding out for a few days. And then I'm ascending, Dungeon Master. So I will say, hello, King. We have recently returned to the board. We are aware of your current situation, but not the details. How long can you and yours hold out? Let's take 15.
A month, maybe two, if we stretch. The castle was provisioned for 500 men to hold out 1 year.
Jesus, so how many people does he have there? Fuck me.
A lot.
That is something that you would generally know. You recall that after the initial force, following force of 2,000 people went to the front after they captured the initial force to try and push further inland. It's like when you're running a campaign, like a military campaign, and you get some momentum, you try to push further, right? That's kind of what happened, which is why you had the whole big thing with Kurt needing to like prepare to leave long term, instead of just kind of being on the border. So yeah, he would have had about 2,200 or so men with him to begin with. Okay. Imagine he's probably lost some of them, but could have found more reinforcements or something along the way. But around 2,000.
Mention up these notes because I just remembered that Timmons isn't here at the moment. Okay. Then I'm gonna do some math here to make more spell slots. First level is 2, 4, 6. 6 points. Turn 5 points. There was spell slot. Alright, yeah, I'm gonna need a long rest.
Spell slot calculus.
It's very complicated maths, you see. Extreme level of mathematics.
Very complicated basic arithmetic.
Yes, this is very complicated. Alright, I will cast Sinning again.
Okay. To whom?
If I do Lady Brightweaver.
Okay.
This time. Lady Brightweaver, I have been made aware of the current situation. Are you able to provide support to the king at this moment?
Also, I'm alive. Hi.
It's not an important detail. We only get 25 words. We really condensed.
That wasn't anywhere near 25 words either, though, was it? Is that all you want to say?
That was like 11.
If you are asking me, if you're asking me to count the words as I speak them, it's never gonna happen. It'll always either be really long or really short. You will add, we are still alive. The king can last for another month, maybe 2. I think that's 21.
I am not a stickler for the 25 word limit. Unless you start rambling off paragraphs, it's probably fine. Yeah. So let's see. She writes back, "Thank you. There is perhaps more that we could do, there's perhaps more that we could do, but it would involve risking mages that are far too young."
Oh, this. Have we taken a short rest yet?
So by the way, she's not necessarily saying 12-year-olds. Kashad at least would know this information. Most like actual mages are like your age at least. They're like at least Kashad years old. So she could be talking about like 18 and 20-year-olds and be like, well, I mean, yes, but they're not really ready yet.
Thought it was Pokemon rules, so like 7, and we're just sending them out to war. It's fine.
Not everyone can be an Ian Vestania, unfortunately.
No, yeah, you're good. Yeah, I am tapped on every possible resource. Well, if we technically leveled up, I could technically cast it again with a 4th level spell slot. But
you do not technically level up until you go to either Justicar or Daragonia and spend a night's rest.
Well, I have no resources, so if we fight anything, I will die. I will communicate to the others.
Speaking of that, the Beholder. No.
Bum, bum, bum.
Oh, what? Well, I have some news. The king can apparently hold out for another month, maybe 2, if things continue at their current pace. It appears that Lady Brightweaver could possibly help, but it would involve sending mages that aren't quite ready. Something I would like to not do at the moment.
If I may,
Of course.
Mr. Slorna, the situation with your younger children. What is your next intention?
I suppose it's to let them go.
I know perhaps this will not mean very much, but I have trained many, many recruits over the years. And Urea has a very bright mind, a very agile body, and she is exceptionally promising. If anything, I have faith in her abilities.
You're kind, sir. It was earlier than I wanted, but something like this was going to happen eventually. Well, not the warlock part. That part was new. I wasn't expecting that. But something like this.
If this is the case, and I'm looking at everybody, and if everything is to be left up to them for now, I would suggest that we perhaps take a trip to Jestikar and try and find alternate means of helping our king.
Well, I'm not the only one whose opinion matters. She kind of looks down at Shay. She sort of rubs the small of your back a little bit, Shay, and says, Shay? Are you willing to let your siblings grow up, Shay?
You're the one who got mad at me because they left.
Yes, well, some of us, her eyes land on Maravina, struggle with our tempers.
I would still like to locate them and talk to their whoever's with them, because that was not part of our arrangement.
I see. Well, how about this? If you all have other business, perhaps we should all go to Jestikar together. You can take care of what you might be seeking to do there to help the kingdom, which is a bit confusing to me, but I trust you. And I will shake down a location for my children.
I would like
Very
to go
well.
with you.
She seems slightly confused. She says, to Jestikar or to shake people down?
Well, hopefully not shake people down, but like I would like to meet them too. I never got the chance to meet them.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, if that's all right with... She looks at you, Kashad.
We'll spend a few days in Justica to see if we can gain any support. But after that, we will be heading to the front lines. I believe that most of you who have never seen an actual war before, so you all will need to be prepared. Take the next few days to take care of whatever you need to do. Is officially no longer training. We are going to put everything you may have learned to the test.
Wait. Do you mean me too?
All of you. And your dinosaur.
They look up at no name yet. Oh.
Abrea's voice rings in your head. We are very capable. I understand why they want to ensure that we will aid them.
Well, of course, you're the strongest creature I've ever met. Oh, okay. Well,
I don't know. I saw a rhinoceros passing in the distance while we were on our journey, flying above the world. And I believe that rhinoceros are also fairly capable and scary.
Oh. I will have to keep that in mind. That means if we get you and a rhinoceros together, we can win the war.
Yes, if I were not a dinosaur, I think I would have liked to have been a rhinoceros. No name yet says that in your head.
I can see why those two horns, they can pierce through a tree. It makes sense. Oh, we got a great idea for a battle technique. If we will be the animal battalion. You come in as me, you, and a rhinoceros. Who can stand against that? We will be unstoppable.
We do not have enough people for a battalion.
Oh, we don't?
Oh, sorry, your brother speaks.
Oh, okay.
And you see No Name Yet's head turn towards Kajan.
no turn too. We have a great battle idea. Oh, we'll tell you later.
Has anyone verified what Olga is?
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah, I don't.
You have a suspicion, but you don't know. You sent a hawk looking for giants, and you found 12 giants up a little ways up the mountain.
Mm-hmm. I'm not 100% sure, but I think, but I sent a hawk to go look for Olga while all this was happening, and my hawk, they found like 12 giants. The hawk says they're like dancing. I'm not really sure what that means, but I'm presuming with the 12 giants gathering together that maybe Olga's there too.
Alright, well, at least it seems that they are doing fine. Is there anything else?
I'm eager to be on our way, to be honest.
Be nice to be out of the wilderness again for at least a few days.
Is that bad?
It's not great.
Kind of like look away.
I still love you, but no. Sleeping in a bed again would be quite nice.
I guess it makes sense. And they look towards Mur's boots. Like, well, at least it's not that dirty this time.
We haven't climbed down the mountain yet.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Shall we go and meet with our soldier friends?
We shall.
So this time,
Okay. And they hop on the back of No Name Yet.
You guys make your way back to camp.
yes.
Okay. You do so. You get there. Everyone kind of notices you as the camp stays on relative alert. Most of the time, they have sentries posted. There were the 2 guards out front previously. But at this point, they kind of like see you all, notice who it is, notice the dinosaur, and have basically just accepted that you guys are around at the moment. So no one really gives you too much trouble or even a second look, really, as you all arrive to the camp.
Let's find the teleportation circle again.
I forget. Did we get the name of that mage?
I think so.
I feel like Hammons would have it.
Yeah, that'd be double check.
It's not in my notes if you did.
I'm also looking at mine. Yeah, no, I don't think we did.
I don't have it on our neutral parties list.
Nope. Yeah, we didn't get it.
Camp mage. Either way, we'll look for that person.
Hello. Welcome back.
We were hoping that you could provide us passage to Justicar proper.
I could. Certainly.
Would you be able to do that for us tonight, or are there any restrictions or requirements?
Oh, like now or?
Well, at your soonest convenience. I will not wish to force you to do something that would be disadvantageous.
Yeah. Sure. Come on, come in. They lead you into one of the tents.
All right, go inside.
There is a teleportation circle here, and they say, "Give me just a moment. I'm going to be sending word ahead. This leads to outside of the barracks, and I will have Triodon meet you."
Oh, okay. Thank you so much for the help.
It'll be pleasure to see him again. Thank you.
Wait, I gotta give you this. And they'll go ahead and cast Druidcraft because they remember they liked the colorful flower before. They could be able to use for new, I guess, potion-based content. So they're going to craft one of their golden flowers to be here's something for your herbalism.
Well, this is interesting. Where did you find this plant?
It just started to happen.
They kind of give you the WTF are you talking about look, and then just okay. Interesting. Thank you.
I hope it helps your herbalism.
Me too. You see they tuck it into a little pocket to the petals, peeking up above.
Oh, is the colorful one there too?
Hmm?
There's a big smile there. We're like, oh, that's both of them.
So you see sort of similar process. They cast sending. Observed Kashad do it before. Similar kind of idea, although the patterns of casting can be a little bit different depending on where their spells originate. And this is a wizard, not a sorcerer. And then after that, they say, okay, I just need to prime the teleportation circle, and then you all will be ready to go. The trier said to give him 30 minutes, so feel free to do whatever you might need in the camp while we wait.
Fantastic. Would anyone mind if I go and say a brief goodbye to the men?
Great, it as you will. Well, I'll
right.
take some time to rest.
I'll just go generally around the camp and say, soldierly goodbyes, especially like Shore and Ur, and no scene necessary. This is just what Jethrin does.
Yeah. You get a lot of, oh man, you really got to go. Sure, no problem. We totally get it. Hey, come back anytime, man. Know it's a little bit out of the way, but it'd be cool to see you. Love to take some more money from you during dice.
Don't forget, if you ever get down to those temples, hit me up.
Of course. Anything else anyone wants to do before you all go?
Not
Just basically falling asleep.
Yeah, I'm just gonna hang out near Kashad. I'm not letting him out of my sight. Probably have like another eye on Abrea, just nope. Neither of you are leaving.
So 30 minutes later, the mage comes to get you, tells you that the portal is ready, brings you to it, goes ahead and primes the teleportation circle so that it's ready, and ushers you all through to experience the city of Justicar for the first time.
Alright, yeah. Abrea and no name yet. We'll definitely make their way through.
That's where we're going to take our break for tonight.
Oh, perfect. All right. Well, I hope you're liking what you see here with our episode. If you like what you see here, make sure to join our Discord. You should see it in the description section below, where we have a section for spoilers, not spoilers, fan art, and we'll love to hear your thoughts about the campaign. We'll be back for the second half of Reclamation, but until then, farewell for now.
Find yourself in the city of Jestkar for the first time, standing next to the barracks, and the first thing that jumps out at you is that the barracks are made entirely from an outer shell of metal. And then you're like, wait a minute, and you look around you, all of the buildings are made of metal.
Very hard here.
Oh, they'll look towards the mage like, oh, by the way, I forgot to ask. What's your
They
name?
super didn't come with you.
Oh, they didn't come with us? Oh.
No, they just activated the circle so you could go through.
Oh. Oh.
So Brad turns and goes, oh.
Wow. It's
Person we're supposed to be speaking with here?
Welcome to Jestkar. He's there.
Yes, thank you. It is good to see such a very interesting city.
Sure.
It's stunning. Thank you for meeting us here.
The pleasure was all mine. But I must ask, to what do I owe this visit?
Suppose getting straight to business is efficient. We wish to negotiate some sort of, let's say, I'm very not good at the political flowery words. We wish to borrow your assistance in ending a siege on one of our castles, if possible.
One of your castles?
Yes.
Suppose if you took it, it is then yours, in a manner of speaking. Don't worry about the
Negotiations have been
politics.
requested to return it.
Don't worry about these politics. You may speak plainly with me. There are 2 politicians, the head of the triumvirate, but I am not one of them. Okay. Your proposal is interesting. It sounds like you could make for a fun battle. But what are you going to do for me?
That would depend. Naturally, it would be good for both of our people to begin to engage in more friendly relations. And if there's any reasonable service you would request of us, I would have no issue in assisting you.
Do you have permission to speak for your king?
Not at the moment, unfortunately. I'm speaking of House Caron and no one else.
I see. Well, it would certainly be easier to convince me if I could keep the castle that we're going to take.
I would need to speak to the king to iron out the details, but I'm sure you can work out an arrangement I would allow for, let's say, an embassy of sort to set up a station there.
Interesting. Well, you have my attention. How many soldiers do you think you would need?
I feel like Ashad may know this better than I do, but how many people would you need? Because if the king has several thousand people, but they're inside of a castle. That means the other people have to have a considerably higher amount of people. So would Kashad, since he was a soldier, be able to I don't know, extrapolate based on this information to figure this out? I am not an expert on medieval sieges, unfortunately. It's not my.
Yes. So unfortunately, this is a highly complex matter, especially in a fantasy setting, because even if you knew their exact numbers, if you have 20,000 troops and they're all footmen armed with leather jerkins, pants, a sword, and a buckler, that's a lot of men, but that actual force isn't really all that dangerous. If you had a couple thousand knights, you could pretty much destroy 20,000 footmen. Maybe not. Maybe you need like 4,000 or 5,000 knights or something like that. But with a lot fewer numbers, you could destroy them. But if the 20,000 people is like 10,000 knights, 8,000 mages, and 2,000 bowmen, like that's a pretty serious problem for a lot of forces. So I think that Kashad, basically, I guess what I'm getting at is, I think that Kashad probably wouldn't have enough information to really know. You don't really know what the sieging force is made up of. Although you guess, good.
Finish first.
The castle, per what the uncrowned king, per what he said, the castle was built for a force of 500 people. They've got around 2,000 people in there. That would mean that in order to lay siege to a castle that size, the force would need to be at least 5,000. Usually you want like a 10-to-1 advantage around the castle. So with it being built for 500, they would want at least 5,000 to sort of surround it, block supply lines and such.
If I may, Trio, Don, and Lord Kashad, the news of the siege, as it were, and is very recent to us. However, it might be beneficial for us to attempt to use magics to remotely view the location first, to give you a more accurate descriptor. We wouldn't want to shortchange you with an over or underestimation.
Do you agree with your knight's words, Lord Kashad?
I do. I have a real quick question for you, DM. When we were sitting around resting for a bit, was that enough for a short rest? Because
no, unfortunately not.
Darn it, I just need a short rest. Why are we doing this? Unfortunately, without more information, it would be difficult for me to determine any exact numbers. It's very difficult in our current position. However, I imagine it would depend primarily on what sort of forces you would be willing to spare for such a feat.
Indeed. Well, you all look as though you have had a bit of a long day. It's getting late as well. Would you prefer accommodations in an inn or in my keep?
I want to do an insight check.
Okay.
14. Does he feel sneaky to me? It's a general personal vibe check.
General vibe check. Not really. I mean, you remember he seemed to kind of have like a little bit of a thing for Mare, but you also remember that he didn't really seem to care all that much that he offended her with the way that he trained his men and stuff. either. So he seems fairly straightforward. I'd say the way that you take it is probably just that he doesn't really know how you would be more comfortable. Not everyone really likes sleeping in a castle. They tend to, because they're built to house so many people and like keep, even the more comfortable accommodations sometimes aren't as like good as what you might find in like an upscale inn or whatever. So yeah, I would say you just take it as he's just trying to make you as comfortable as possible.
We are not in need of comfort at the moment. Assuring we have spent more than enough time roughing it that a few more days would not be an issue.
And nature's not roughing it. Nature's perfectly fine.
It would be an
As
honor
always.
to see your keep and accept your invitation.
We would be honored to be your guests.
Excellent. Well, I actually have other business to attend to, but I will have someone show you the way and ensure that you're set up with proper accommodations. Well, it's getting a bit late, but if you're willing to wait, perhaps we could all have dinner together in a couple of hours, a late supper.
I'm willing to accept your invitation.
Excellent. Well, I will see you all soon. One moment. He goes and he collects a couple of men from the barracks and kind of gives instructions to both of them. And they come over to meet you. Let me write their names down so I don't forget here. They are Jackson and Turk. That's how they introduce themselves. They're just two guards wearing the vestments of Justicar that he pulled from the barracks. Hello, Lord Kushad, I think it was. We're here to escort you and your family to Tryer's Keep. Are you ready to depart?
Yeah.
Very well. Just follow us. And they lead the way, taking you through the city. It's a couple minutes before the city starts to kind of change. But it's very odd because as you get into some of the other parts of the city, after a couple of minutes, it is made of like mostly wooden construction, as opposed to the weird metal buildings that you all were seeing in the previous area. And you kind of circle through that area and end up back in a section of metal buildings, and then kind of smack dab in the middle of things, arrayed with all these metal buildings around it, is a stone keep. There is a wall that is relatively close to the keep. It's only about 10 feet high, which is a relatively high wall, but definitely not anything like what would be around an actual fortified city. And the keep looks like it probably spans maybe 4 or 5 floors in size up into the air. So sort of a 40 to 50 feet tall. And you all are led through here. A couple of guards in front sort of get the nod from the other guards, but they're stopped anyway. They sort of explain what's going on. You're led inside and you meet with a couple of servants who start to hurriedly bustle about to try and find the right accommodations for you all. And you are all given an individual room in sort of one of the wings of this keep, where they're all sort of like lined up, that you're all next door to each other on one side of the hallway.
On the walk up there, before we got into the keep, could I have ask one of our guides a question, like Jackson or Turk?
Sure. Which one?
We'll go for Turk.
Okay.
I noticed the construction in this area is different. Is it like this throughout the city? I understand you have sort of a Triforce government system. Is the city divided architecturally based upon this?
Not exactly. So the metal buildings are slowly replacing everything else, but they're a bit difficult to make. Got a lot of
resources.
Got a lot of metal here. Well, we've definitely got some machines that make it easier from the way I understand it, but it's a lot of metal.
Interesting. Is there any particular reason for the switch?
Well, I don't know. Trier says something about the metal being solid and fortified or whatever, but I don't know. People say maybe he just likes the way that it looks.
It's very impressive, but I mean, sorry, this city is coastal, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. I'm not sure what kind of metal this is, but aren't they going to rust by the ocean?
Haven't yet.
Fair.
Maybe there's something in the machines. I don't know.
These machines do sound fascinating. Are they new inventions? You had them for a while?
I got no idea. I can't even get anywhere near those things.
They sound impressive, whatever they are.
Yeah, I mean, it's some of the Trier's men who have been with him a long time. I mean, I'm just a soldier. I've really only been enlisted in the army for the past couple of years. But yeah, I mean, it's only the people that are real loyal to him and have been around like a long time that really operate those machines.
Fascinating.
I don't even know where they get them from. It's kind of odd. Yeah, I've seen one operating before, but it's kind of hard to describe.
I'm not a mechanist of any kind myself. I would imagine I wouldn't know how to begin describing these things either.
Yeah, most people aren't outside of what you call it up in the north. Starts with the T something.
Telonia, yes.
That one. Sorry, geography's not really my strong suit, but we're almost here though. I'm sure the trial will be back eventually, and I guess you can ask him.
Looking forward to it. Thank you.
Anything you all want to do before dinner other than taking your short rest?
Get cleaned up.
Okay.
I wanna
fancy
take
clothes.
one of those demon horns and just start working on creating a little what would I call a little clasp thing for a hair braid.
I think only thing for our brand is they feel kind of weird with all of the metal and stone around, because it seems like it's very isolated from nature. So I think within their room, the only thing they're going to do is just like kind of do a little bit of druid craft, just to add some golden flowers in the area to kind of give something a little bit more normal to them. But that's pretty much it.
inside of the room.
Inside the room.
Okay.
Yeah, their own room, because they don't want to mess up any place else, but just within their own room, they was just like, yeah, they won't mind. They'll start
Like, well, if this is my room now, then we need to add a little nature back into it.
Yep, just a little bit, not a lot.
Some vines up on my bedposts.
All right.
That's it for me.
You do so, and you watch as the gold flowers start to slowly bathe the sides of the room and work their way up the walls.
Ah, that's beautiful. Oh, it's like a nice hybrid between the two. I wonder if they consider something like this. Maybe one day. They take that to the back of their mind, see if maybe presenting idea of see if they'll be interested in like a hybrid of metal and technology with nature on the side. But something for a later time.
In another life, Aubrey could have been an interior decorator to great renown.
Yeah, I can see that.
Anything else? Anyone?
No, definitely get cleaned up, and then I don't want to go anywhere I'm not supposed to be, but I definitely kind of want to walk around and see if I can like overhear any snippets of conversation between people walking in the keep. Maybe like try and poke my head in the kitchen, maybe just a little, like hang out. But I don't want to be anywhere I'm not supposed to be. I still want to get my short rest, but
You're snooping, but in the appropriate areas.
exactly.
Okay, roll me a stealth check and a perception check.
Okay.
Shay has also sent me a DM. Shay, for the thing that you DM'd me about, please roll me an intelligence check. Roll a d20 and add your intelligence modifier.
Below our friends.
Right. So my stealth was 16, and then perception is an 11. Or I'm sorry, it's a 13. I can do math.
Okay. You're careful to avoid any areas that you don't think that you should be exploring. Word seems to have spread because no one really bothers you too much. You walk by in a certain area and someone actually stops you there before you go in, and they're like, away from the kitchen, servants only, sorry, apologies, and you kind of continue. What sort of information are you looking to learn? I'll let you know if you pick up on anything about what you're actually trying to learn.
I want to know if, just sort of generally, how the people that live and work here feel about Trier Dawn. And I want to keep my ears open for anything about Telonia or these machines specifically, now that I've got that bug in my ear.
The servants do not talk at all about the machines in the time that you're kind of snooping. As far as Trier Dawn, they also don't really mention him that much, although you do gather that they're fairly busy. So most of the things that you overhear are like, oh, they said to bring some of the parsnips for tonight's dinner down from the cellar, and oh, make sure that you also bring like a bottle of wine, but the good stuff, and make sure make sure that the guards know that the people who are supposed to replace them are going to be 30 minutes late because they got caught up on their previous assignment on patrol. Just a bunch of sort of things like that.
Make sure that poison fuel is only for these guests. Wait, what?
All right. Yeah, so, all right, good general vibes. Okay.
We want to test if the young one is immune to poison. No.
All right. So yeah, I guess I take it that the servants are kind of doing their jobs. They seem relatively happy. Doesn't seem to be any big none of them are walking around like
I hate this place.
Yeah, I hate this place. I hate everyone
Relatively happy, relatively proud to be where they are, but pretty busy. You gather there's maybe like a little bit of overworking that's happening.
Okay.
But that's not atypical in your experience for people that are stuck managing noble households.
All right, excellent. Yeah, in that case, I think I'll head back up to Abrea's room and check in on them and see how they're doing before we all head down.
So when you check in their room, you see Abrea talking to no name yet and be like, okay, I think I got it. And you see like these green natural runes just start to appear around their bed. And as they do so, they're going to perform conjure animals to summon a rhinoceros right next to no name yet. Like, we have done it. We have created the greatest battalion ever. Now we are unstoppable. We can stop
How
the
much
war.
space is in this room, dog? Rhinos are big as...
Yeah, they're considered large creatures. We got 2 large creatures, and then a brand just sitting on their bed.
You see no name yet, and the rhinoceros both kind of like crunch together in like one half of the room, and the rhino accidentally steps, and like you hear the bed.
Oh wait. Okay, maybe this. Okay, at least it worked.
And then you hear inside of your head, no name yet says, Abrea, I do not believe that there is enough space for me to challenge the rhinoceros to a duel here.
Oh no, not for a duel. It wasn't going to be a duel. It was supposed to represent the battalion. So remember you were saying we...
How will he know that I am the leader if we do not duel?
Oh, that's a good question. Okay, wait. In a later time, because we have to have dinner soon. So in a later time, we could then issue the challenge. You could drop the gauntlet, and then we can see what happens.
Perhaps the rhinoceros can be dinner. That will be plenty for everyone to eat.
Well, no, we're meant to stop the war. Remember how you said we're us all 3 together? We could stop the people trying to attack our cousin. I just did it. So we now have the secret technique to stop the war.
No, you said we could use it for that. I just said that I liked rhinoceroses.
Oh. Oh, okay. I thought you both said it. Okay, well, just in case, I wanted to see if it worked. But do you come in the room around that time?
Yeah. And so I can't hear no name yet. So all I hear is Abrea saying all this, like, this is impressive beyond even anything I've seen you do so far. But I don't know. These seem too big for this space. I don't think this is a good idea.
I think so too. And then you just see the runes after they kind of rotate around them just vanish out of commission. And as they do so, you just see the creature return back to the land of the Fae, actually, because I think some conjure animals come from the Feywild. So, and so he's like, yeah, I thought no name yet said that if a rhinoceros and them together, we'll be a battalion enough to, like a secret weapon to stop the war. But then I think that was just me. I made a boo-boo.
No, it's an excellent idea. I just don't think this was the space for it. I definitely think that could be useful. I would run that by Jethrin and Kashad. They're much better tacticians than I am on that scale, but let's not. I think we're supposed to try and be friends with this guy, and if we want him to lend us any soldiers, then breaking his house doesn't seem like the best way to go about it.
Oh, yeah. Wait, and they kind of look around. How is the beds and the floorboards looking right now?
The floorboards actually seem like they're holding up okay. The bed, on the other hand, has cracked in half, going like this.
Uh-oh. Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe if I put some flowers on top of it, maybe it makes it.
Oh, that's an idea.
Mary, you hear a voice in your head.
I'm gonna put some lipstick on this pig. It'll make it look beautiful.
You hear in your head, Maravina, I need you to solve this problem. It appears that the youngling no longer has anywhere to sleep.
I mean, of course he could always stay with me. Of course. Probably safer that way. It's better for all together. Maybe we can, I don't know, could you do some vines or something to put it back together? And are you talking in my head? Did I know you could talk in my head? I don't think I've heard it.
Yes, would it be more normal to you if I spoke to you out loud? I think the words would sound funny.
No, I think that probably in my head is best. I think people are put off enough by a dinosaur that if everyone knew it could talk in their heads, it would be a lot of questions that definitely can't be answered.
Miss Simmons loves conversing with me in her head.
I find that exceptionally hard to believe. Well, I mean, Simmons is of course free to. Yes, you can converse in my head. Just maybe. Okay, can you warn people? Did somebody warn somebody? That was.
Wait, so I don't hear anything because you all are talking to each other in your heads. I'm just looking. I think I see you. Perhaps your two eyes are maybe looking at each other. I'm like, oh, okay, they're probably talking. And they're just they're just sitting in the middle of the bed, like as it's creased out. As it's creased out, just watching you two talk.
I am already a dinosaur. I do not believe it is a good idea to let everyone know that I can speak in their heads.
That's to a mayor, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I fully agree. Yes.
How will we warn people if we cannot let them know that I speak into people's heads?
A brand could warn them? Or you could speak out loud at first? What does it sound like when you speak out loud, though?
You hear that shakes the entire room that you're in answer to your question.
Yeah, I think Albrea might be a better mouthpiece in that situation. Oh, that is very intimidating. I see what you two were talking. You mentioned something about being a battalion that could take down an army with a roar like that. I think maybe you're onto something.
Indeed, we have a rhinoceros, and I can also breathe fire.
I just look at Abraham like, is there anything no name yet can't do?
Wait, what? What do you mean?
Abrea, you hear in your head, Abrea, I'm playing a little trick on Maravina. I have told her that I can breathe fire, but that is a lie.
And you just see Albrea eyes wide and slowly turns to bear and just like, no name yet. It's the strongest creature I know.
Yes, but they're also in my head, and apparently they can breathe fire.
They could do so many things. As soon as because they could do so many things, I just assume. So with all of us together, we will be the animal battalion, and then we can rescue our cousin.
Absolutely, we're going to figure out how to do that.
So that was going to be my suggestion to the Justicar leader person, because he was asking what we could do for them. I was going to say I can set up a new type of battalion for you, the Animal Battalion.
I'm Triardon, and this place seemed perfectly fine. The servants seem, as happy as one could expect. But the engines, the machines that they're getting from Telonia, they sound dangerous and unique. And I don't know if they would be willing to work with us against Telonia if they're getting such important technology from them. We could be asking them for too big of a favor. And
You don't think the animal battalion would change their mind?
I don't know if we should let them know about the full potential of our animal battalion. Maybe keep the rhinoceros and the fire breathing to ourselves.
Okay.
In case.
Okay. I will let you, because I don't know how to talk to people like you do, so I'll let you present our what's the right word?
What
presentation?
we can offer. Yes, what we're willing and able to offer, but you don't always want to let everyone know everything all at once.
Why not? Why would you do so? Why would you keep stuff? I mean, like, unless it's like a joke or you're trying to trick someone, but other than that, why would you try to keep stuff away?
Because not everyone is going to be your friend all the time. Sometimes people aren't your friend forever, and sometimes maybe people are friends with someone that you don't like very much, and you know how Robin, you can't tell her anything because she'll go and she'll tell everyone and make it your problem and embarrass you.
Yeah, I don't understand why she does that.
I don't either. It's rude. Just keep it to yourself, right? And then tell people when it's necessary. Well, I'm worried that they might, if they have information that we don't want Telonia to know, and Justicar needs things that Telonia has, sometimes information is more important than soldiers on a battlefield or weapons in a chest.
Wow. Mary, you're really smart.
I just don't want us to get hurt, and you're so precious, and you're so sweet, and you're so open. I know it's your instinct and your inclination to be open with everyone, and I don't want to discourage that in you, but I don't know if this place is as safe as maybe we thought it might have been.
Okay.
Okay.
Abrea, your voice in your head. I am confused.
What do you mean? What's confusing you?
Well, everyone always speaks as though they are very worried about you, but they forget that you can put an arrow through an apple from 100 meters away. It is very confusing. I do not understand.
Oh. It's because I'm... And they'll pull it up their hands and then to 12 years old. So because of that, they want to make sure I'm okay. Because I guess they see things that I don't see. Yeah, because it's impossible for me to see if I don't see it. So I don't know. But it's weird. I'm still trying to understand it, but it's kind of hard. I'll be honest. Don't name me. I'm kind of the same way. It is confusing. But I'll we'll be confused together.
Being confused together is better than apart. And then no name yet goes silent.
And that no name yet would definitely climb on. I mean, sorry, Brea would climb on top of no name yet and be like, okay, on to dinner, I guess. I hope they have enough food for all of us. I'm not sure if they're ready to feed a dinosaur.
I don't think anyone expects a dinosaur, but if the hustle and bustle downstairs is any indication, they seem to be well stocked, and they're breaking out the good wine for us.
Wait, I can drink? Wait, if I'm going to war, should I be able to drink?
Maybe a half glass, but shh, don't tell Kashaw.
Okay. All right. I guess we're head on down to dinner.
As we're leaving, can I take one of the golden druid flowers and kind of like put it behind my ear?
Oh, that's awesome.
To dinner.
To dinner, yep. And we head on downstairs.
Anyone else have things they would like to discuss or do before dinner?
I would like to cast Sending before dinner, but after the short rest.
Okay.
Okay, so I goofed last time and did it in a bad mathematical way, so I could have actually casted it more times earlier. But now I think I got it. So cast Sending, I'm gonna send a message to the king. Hello, my king. I'm currently attempting to request the aid of Justicar. However, they wish to have the fort that you are currently residing. Is that acceptable to you?
Is what acceptable? I missed the first part.
They want the is it a castle that they're in or a fort? I forget. But he says that they want that.
I thought it was a keep. Did I miss that? I must have got mixed up.
Keeps are
No, you're in a
castle.
You're in a keep right now inside of the city. They're at a castle.
Mm-hmm.
Most castles have a keep, but a castle is like a walled area with a keep and a bunch of other buildings that are inside of the fortification.
Oh, gotcha. Thanks.
All right. Then yeah, he will say that they want the castle.
The response is I would hesitate to allow another potential enemy so close to our borders, but I do not know that much of Justicar. I'll leave it to you, cousin.
Do this one more time. Then I will send. In your best estimation, how much of a force do you think would be able to end this siege as quickly as possible?
They seem to have 3,000 knights, 1,000 mages, 10,000 footmen, and about 1,000 or so archers.
Wait, one more time. You said 3,000 knights, 1,000 mages. What was it? 10,000?
About 10,000 footmen.
footmen and
1,000 archers.
1,000 archers. God. Okay.
We have a scroll of meteor swarm by chance.
You ask him if we have one?
No. No. All right. Well, that's
then he says just a little bit more on the message. He says, the forces are made up of both our enemies, which you gather to mean Fudalonia, which stepped into the war with you, and Telonia. So there's a combination of forces outside.
Yeah, I have a question because I can't remember who all got this information. I feel like we all got the information from the Sphinx regarding the fact that there happens to be a dragon that we've met that drove us around in a carriage that served the queen. I can't remember if we all got the information or if it was one specific party member.
I think, did we all get it?
No, that question I believe was asked with everyone present.
Yeah.
That was part of the Nezra question. But I think everyone was present for that one.
All right. Thank you.
Do I know who that person is?
Yeah, it was the guy who was driving us during the
All right.
The queen's carriage driver, Cortholo.
Cortholo, yeah.
All right. Tomorrow we're casting sending.
But remember, we're supposed to keep that a secret. No one was supposed to know that. We weren't even supposed to know about that. Like, that was supposed to be something we were supposed to keep a secret per the Sphinx. The Sphinx did it with us to...
I feel like
Tell anybody else, but if he's casting sending, it's private between Kashad and that person.
Yeah, I'm just saying that's what the Sphinx, if I recall correctly, the Sphinx specifically stated we are not supposed to know about this information, so they were asking us not to tell anyone. So
15,000 people.
So
All right, well, then I'm gonna go to dinner. This is fine.
just heads up.
This is fine.
By the way, 3,000 knights means they're fairly well equipped. You can't field 3,000 men in full sets of armor with horses unless you were like provisioned and prepared. Which Kashad and Jasmine would both definitely know. Do what?
No, Ian can Ian casting Wish would be very useful right about now. Unless someone hadn't messed that up earlier. Sean will go to dinner.
He was about to summon something, so
how many people can I cast friends on at a time?
Not enough.
15K? I think it's 15K, right?
Not enough.
Yeah, I will go. I will go to dinner now.
Okay. Shay, is there anything else that you wanted to clarify or say to your mother with what you were messaging me about?
He just kind of gives her a look. Just kind of like, I feel like you're lying to me about something, before he walks out of the room.
She sits there for a second confused and then allows you all to go to dinner. When you sit down, the table is missing about what you estimate is probably 4 or 5 chairs. And piled in front of that is a large platter of raw meat. The rest of the food is not on the table yet, but Trier Don is sitting there with a pile of papers and a quill in his hand, You see actually some like magnification spectacles that he's using and kind of like writing on something, and then he sees you all and goes, "Ah, hello. Glad you could join me for dinner."
Is that for no name yet?
Ah, yes. I wasn't really sure what your companion eats, but I figured meat was likely.
I was about to take offense, Sheridan. I thought perhaps you were referencing me. Jethron has, it's clearly a joke. You can see it in his face that he's crying.
He just kind of quips back, "Well, surely you eat meat as well, I would imagine, no?"
Well, I've been known to on occasion.
Brad just looks
Thank
really
you for your
confused.
hospitality.
And our whoosh.
Yep. Abrea will look.
Take a seat.
Will speak towards no name. You're like, "This is all yours. What a enjoy! Oh my God, they gave you so much."
No name yet begins to eat, but the only response you hear back in your head is, "I still prefer to hunt for my food."
I understand. I'm the same way. Oh yeah, and then hop off and dive into whatever seat there is. But I'm pretty sure you have to scoot up. maybe they got like a book underneath this, so they're more in the same spot.
The legs don't quite touch the ground, unfortunately.
Sadly.
Excellent. Well, you all sit down for dinner, and he says, "So, how was your stay? Is everyone comfortable?"
Yes,
Hospitality is very good.
Indeed. Very comfortable. Thank you very much. It was nice to be able to clean up a bit.
He kind of turns to Abreu, noticing the look on your face, passing his inside check, and says, "Young one, do you find your accommodation suitable?"
It's fantastic. I just added some flowers along there because just to make it feel more like at home. And they look towards Mara like, "Should I say something about the bed?"
Thank you for your hospitality, your accommodations, the rooms. It's been so lovely to be inside and out off of the mountain. We have been traveling for so long, and I think what my sibling means to say is no name yet hasn't always been inside very often for a while, and Abrea, they're so sweet and well-meaning, and well, we were playing a little bit, and it's my fault, honestly. And I was roughhousing with them, and I may have caused some minor damage, but it can be fixed easily. I'm certain.
Wait, what? That didn't happen. I broke the bed because I created a but. Everybody. We might need a replacement. I was coming up with a battle strategy.
Well, I suppose they do grow on trees, in a manner of speaking. We'll see what we can do to get that replaced, I suppose.
Sorry about that.
Also, I'm not sure if we've gotten the chance to say this yet, but it means a lot to me personally that while we were away, and I'm aware that we were away, but that's a different story, you still had people out looking for us. Thank you.
Ah, certainly. The eyes kind of slide land on Mayor for a second. Slide over everyone else again. No problem.
And we appreciate the fact that you would dedicate a group of men to assist us in our cause, and we would like we said work on trying to strengthen these new bonds of friendship between our countries. Kind of look over at Kashad like, am I doing this right?
I believe this is the start for what could be a very beneficial arrangement for both of our countries. I have had the opportunity to speak with the king, and he does afford me the ability to negotiate.
I see. That is convenient. I suppose first we should enjoy our meal. He rings a little bell, and you see people bring out the first course, which is mashed potatoes, and then what seems to be some kind of like boiled green beans.
Oh, wow. I didn't really realize how much I missed this because I was enjoying good berries, but thank you.
No problem. What is a good berry?
Oh, well, you sure you want one? If you eat it, you won't be able to eat anything else because you'll be completely full.
Well, I was just curious what it was. I don't think I need one.
Oh, it's a berry that I create, and it makes you full. You don't have to worry about eating for the rest of the day, and it makes you feel re-energized.
That would certainly make it easier to field an army if we could just not need to worry about feeding them. How many of these can you make?
Oh,
We can negotiate the exact abilities of such magic.
It's not my experience that you can negotiate with magic on what sort of abilities you want from it, but I suppose that's fair.
they just whisper silently, like mouth out, I don't know what that means. And they go back to eating food. Thank you for the meal.
Well, then Kashad will eat as well.
As you all are just kind of eating and not really saying too much, they bring out the next course, which is a couple loaves of bread as well as a couple of platters of whole ducks.
That's a whole duck. Wow. Who eats all of that? Well, besides no name yet.
Well, I mean,
Oh yeah, all those muscles you have, yeah. You probably need two.
a lot of protein is required for my stature.
I would not be surprised. Does good berries? Would I give you a good berry? Do you still maintain the protein? Does it keep your protein nice and in shape?
Well, we haven't had the chance to test that out over a long period of time, so I don't know. They feel filling and stave off hunger, so that's a good plus in my book. But tell me, Sheridan, your fair city here, how are things faring for you and your people?
Fairly well, I suppose. We have some amount of goods that people definitely want, although trade certainly seems to be being impacted by the sort of ongoing conflicts. Well, the training went well. I think things are progressing okay.
I must admit, I am not as familiar with your country as I would like to be. You say, trade isn't going well. What materials are you looking to sell to others, and what does your country need?
Well, I don't know why, but Foodalonia has started refusing all trade with us, which is odd because I've not gotten directly involved in their seemingly new conflict with you, and yet still they refuse to trade with us. The barbarians to the north, obviously, still are trading with us, though they mostly focus on primitive goods. To the east is where we trade some more of the luxuries that can be produced within Justicar mines and such. But trade in the north seems difficult these days. I hesitate to send any ships up to Dergonia more than what we already have and always do. Because I'm worried that conflicts could move to the water, though they haven't yet, as far as I'm aware.
Does this seem like he's telling me the truth? Does it seem like...
Roll insight.
Right. 12.
Yeah.
It's strange that a potential ally, or used to be ally, would cut off trade with no explanation whatsoever.
I wouldn't consider them to be an ally, really. I mean, I suppose most of our relationship with them has always focused on trade. Foodalonia produces lots of lumber and raw goods that can be quite useful. The quality of their force seems to be a little bit higher, especially when you're creating more intricate or sturdy weapons designs, or building fortified constructions, walls around a wooden fort. They seem to have the best supplies for that, and until recently were interested in the gems and precious raw minerals that we had to trade. Precious raw and processed minerals that we had to trade. Yes, it's very odd. They just cut off all trade.
I raise an eyebrow at the mention of gems. Try it on. It would strike me as a military man that a reason for them cutting off trade with their newish alliance with Talonia, with you, would be that they believe these needs will soon be met elsewhere. Would also strike me as concerning as a military man that if two nations with an alliance grew to encompass a third nation, that would upset quite a bit of balance among the rest of the continent. Would you agree?
I suppose I do, generally speaking.
So I noticed that this place has a lot of metal. Is there like not much forest around here? Like, do you have like forests and trees, or is that why you were trying to get trade with Frutalonia?
We have some forests, not inside of the city. The metal is a bit of a different story, but the quality of the lumber from Frutalonia is higher, especially for certain kinds of construction, as I mentioned, building fortified walls or things like spears, which is a common weapon in Justicar. You tend to want strong lumber when you're stabbing at metal. It turns out that can be very dangerous for the spear, I suppose.
I can help with that. If you take me to the place where you need better lumber, I can make the lumber stronger and make more food come out.
Well, that's a very useful talent.
My sibling is exceptionally talented. However, they have lots of things that they need to do that are not solely in service to either us or our friends.
Indeed.
Have you been building buildings out of metal long? It's stunning technology.
Perhaps 30 years.
I'm saddened that the stories of how beautiful your city is had not reached our ears before.
I see.
Do believe there's plenty of opportunities here for us to form more lasting bonds. Well, I do have a question for you. Should you obtain ownership of this castle, what do you intend to do with it?
I do not believe that should we successfully break this siege and save your king, I do not believe that the fighting with Talonia will be over. And I think that if I decide to enter into this conflict and pick a side, it's likely that I'll be picking that side for the long term. It would behoove me to have a place where I could stage troops that is closer to Talonia. Offers me a great tactical advantage should I enter into this conflict.
Definitely agree with that assessment. I can tell you that our enemy appears to have invested a sizable amount of forces to taking this castle, so I believe should they be routed thoroughly here, they will be left to recover for quite some time.
Ooh, can we make it like a hybrid castle where like both of our kingdoms stay there, and then we can be like maybe like a council where we like join together and discuss like things and make sure we work together? Like can that exist? Can you have like a hybrid castle like that?
That's an intriguing idea. I don't know that I've ever heard of anything like that before, but I don't see why it wouldn't be possible.
Cool. Would that work for everyone?
I believe so. I cannot make long-term commitments for the kingdom. I'm sure you can understand that I am not His Majesty, but I can confirm that I do have permission to negotiate within reason with the castle, so such an arrangement is acceptable.
Okay. Well, then I suppose there's just a matter of how many men we are going to need to muster and how you're going to provide assurances that I won't have a knife in my back.
Hey, who would
Should
do,
I become involved?
who would do that to you? Why would they do that to you for?
Well, not you, certainly. But perhaps someone at this table. Just like looks around at everyone else.
Well, they wouldn't do that. They're my family. Why would they do something like that for?
I don't know. It just behooves me to be naturally suspicious and ensure that I get the message of, or I get the measure of people.
What would you request?
You may not have learned this yet, but oftentimes those with power find that they do not really want it. Those who do not have it are the ones who lust for it.
Oh. They kind of like scratch their head at the table when they hear that, like literally just drop their fork, like, what really?
When you look, he takes that still as like confusion. So he continues speaking and he says, I don't mean to scare you, but this certainly, there have been attempts on my life previously.
Why would they do that to you for? You seem like a nice guy.
Same reason they attempted it on our king, remember?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Assure you that neither me or nor my family have any desire to see you harmed.
Well,
Up to us, we would live in peace, but unfortunately, as they say, in order to have peace, one must prepare for war.
They say that? Oh, okay.
I suppose that your word might need to be enough for now. I would just ask one thing further.
I will listen.
You may escort them or whatever needs you may have. But I would like access for a few of my enchanters to your isle. There's no place of magical power appropriate for enchanting in Justicar, and therefore the type of arms that we can make is limited. This is the strongest weapon that has been forged by the Master Smith of Justicar thus far. He goes to a corner and hands it to Jethrin.
What am I looking at?
It is a fairly intricate mace, but you can tell that in terms of the weapons that are carried by the prince or higher ranking members, this weapon does not hold a candle to the things that can be produced in the Isle or in Daragonia. For the sake of, you've handled a lot of weapons and you can kind of tell, this is a +2 mace. So it has no sort of other special enchantments. It's certainly a relatively fine weapon, but it's just a +2 mace, and that is like the pinnacle of what they can achieve without access to the place of power that is found on the Isle.
Master Kashad and Tridon, for myself, just speaking as a man of military, as you, both of you have been.
What?
Sorry, somebody's moving something in the background.
Okay.
Military has already.
They have stopped now, thank goodness. All right. It feels as if this conversation is to a point where I think working out a formal alliance seems like it would be in the best interests of both of our nations. This, while being a fine weapon, as you have said, Triodon, is far from what could be accomplished with access to the Isle. And with what you have achieved with these marvelous metallic buildings, I think a Northern and Southern alliance, if you have the blessing of the King, as you have said, Master Kashad, this is something that I think should be spoken about in earnest and formally. I don't think just having our word is enough, if that makes sense to you. I am many things. I'm also a paladin of an aspite, and oaths carry a strong weight with me. I don't know if that is something you would require, but I think we can all stand to gain a lot from something permanent.
Lord Kashad, do you share the same sentiment?
I do. I find that the world is becoming more complicated. Going into the zone is no longer tenable. I imagine it would take quite some time to nail down the finer details of a formal alliance, including military agreements and trade agreements, but I believe we have begun the process.
Indeed. Do you suppose that should I provide access to such necessary teleportation magics that do not require the use of a circle, the group of us could go together with the rest of the triumvirate to perhaps meet directly with your king? You all would, of course, be present as the bridge, but I think perhaps direct talks are necessary.
I see no reason for him to be upset with that. The location should be safe for another month or so.
All right.
Yeah, can I insight check that?
Yeah.
I'm sure he's not trying to pull one over on us or trying to like use us to sneak in like a group of assassins into a room with our king.
Where's Timmons?
I know.
This Timmons is thing.
I know. It's only a 10.
I will roll for Timmons. Okay. Timmons does not seem to indicate any sort of alarm. We'll even say that Kashad, you start a connection with her, and she does not indicate anything serious. Anything seriously wrong. Obviously, these are serious matters, but I mean, she doesn't indicate anything, isn't it?
Right. We can arrange for this as soon as you are ready. At the first meeting of the North-South Alliance.
Indeed. I imagine that you all would like to level up to 7. I'm sorry, I mean, complete a full night's rest. So I will speak to the other two members of the speak to the other two members of the triumvirate and prepare them for travel. One of them is also the mage that will deliver us to where we're going. And we can all meet in the morning to see that things proceed.
Well,
Fantastic.
Okay. After that, dessert comes out. It is like apples and cinnamon, basically, like candied apples and cinnamon.
Oh, I forgot about this.
Barry's dives directly into one of the plates.
Oh, well, I don't have to worry about that from No Name yet. They only like raw meat.
Shay just sighs and just like, whichever bowl it is, he just pulls Barry plus the bowl over, and whatever bowl he got, he just puts it over.
I have a question for you as well, Triodon. Perhaps this is something that we could discuss as I'm working on a project. Your kingdom. Do you happen to keep any large-sized dogs which are perhaps suitable for warfare or have a high degree of loyalty in their blood?
It's a good question. I'll be honest, I haven't the slightest idea. We'd have to speak to the kennel masters.
If it turns out that you do, I think you might be particularly interested in my plans.
All right. Large, war-sized dogs, loyal. I imagine I can get a message down to the kennel masters and have us an answer by the morning. I don't see why not.
Fantastic.
Did you still want the area with more trees and stronger trees? I don't have to do it now. I can always do it when we come back. It only takes about 8 hours. And then you have a really good force. It'll last about like 1 year.
A full year?
Mm-hmm. You also will get a lot more food too. So if you ever have food shortage, you now have more food.
How large of an area does this affect?
Half a mile.
That's pretty big. Perhaps when we return, I'll have some of the foresters mark out an area so that we'll know where the increased yields will be from. And then when we return, maybe that's something you could find some time to help us out with.
Okay.
Sounds
Does that sound good?
Fun project for us, bro.
Yes. You can see more green around here.
And it's a simple thing that we can do to show our negotiations are in good faith. And look forward to a bright future together.
Yay! North and South Alliance. Maybe that's what the castle could be called, the keep.
Indeed. As a gesture of good faith on my part, it sounds like you all were fairly interested in the metal buildings. Is that correct?
Indeed, I haven't seen anything like it before. It's fascinating.
Certainly sparked my curiosity.
Would you like to see how they're made?
Very much so.
Well, let's finish our meal, and then anyone who would like to, I will bring you to one of the sites where the device is operational. And whoever would like to begin their rest and remain behind, that's fine too.
Before we do all that, would it be possible for Jester? Well, I'll say this. Try it on. Might I also have a quick private word? Won't take too much of your time.
At that, he kind of looks at Kashad. Kashad, do you indicate that it's fine for them to speak privately? Okay. He says, kind of without missing too much of a beat, he checks with Kashad and then looks back to you. Certainly. Here. Join me. He does the thing where, like, as he's standing up, he like shovels some more of the candied apples into his mouth, and then just kind of like, okay. And then he leads you into a little parlor area adjacent to the dining room, and then he stops and then uses one finger kind of to tap into a couple panels of the wall, finds the one he's looking for and pushes it, and you see the wall panels open to reveal a small hidden room on the inside of these walls. And he says, this is about as private as we're probably going to get without some sort of magical interference, so as long as you don't think that's necessary.
Honestly, not even that is necessary. It was more just a question of concerns of faith. I understand that you are very much a divine based spellcaster as well, yes?
Indeed, it's true.
Would it be within your purview to conduct a ceremony?
Yes, I suppose it would.
I have no guarantee that I will be able to complete part 2 of this, but there is someone that I have a question that I mean to ask, and should they agree, I would be most honored if you would do that for us.
I think that could be arranged, certainly.
While I am capable of doing it myself, it's kind of weird, right? Like, you can't, I mean, that's weird. You usually get somebody else to do that, you know what I mean?
Usually.
Yeah, I think it would be too weird, kind of doing it, but
I
would be
also
very
don't
grateful.
meet all that many paladins.
Apparently, we are relatively rare.
Indeed. Also, excusing me, the Leonin, not especially common either. I've met one other in my whole life.
Well, I'm glad to be the second, and at some stage, hopefully, once we get a respite between warfare, etc., I do need to return to my people for a while, and you would be welcome to join.
Well, that would certainly be interesting. I don't know many people that have spent time amongst the Leonin. Perhaps I'll have to make some time for that.
Would very much enjoy showing you around my homeland. It is beautiful. I still have to show my family around my homeland.
Of course. Well, I take it you'll keep my secrets. And he just kind of closes the small private room.
You have no worries on that account. Thank you.
Indeed. Well, let's go rejoin the others.
Mm-hmm.
And they return.
As they return, they look over like, oh wait, I probably won't be able to join you right now because I was going to go with Shay. And they look towards Shay like, Shay, are we still looking for them?
Don't know if we're gonna do it tonight.
Oh. Okay, well we can do it tomorrow. Okay, I guess I'm going with you. Well, it depends.
Well, I am excited to see how they're built.
Nice.
You all kind of just like finish up your meal. Is everyone ready to move on to the machines?
Yeah?
Shay is going as well, right? Or is Shay using this to do their own thing?
No, Shay's gonna stay behind.
Okay. So yeah, if Shay, wait, you stay behind as in doing.
Sad boy got a sad. Okay.
Oh, gotcha. So not actually looking for the siblings, but just chilling.
No,
Indeed.
if he can go out and look for him, he'll probably go out and look for him. He's not too interested in learning how metal is made.
Okay. Yeah. In that case, Abrea would like to try to follow because they assume they might be able to find like a beacon for them due to their shared connection of sorts. So they'll stay behind.
Shay, if I know that I told you and your mother already, but if you want my assistance, I owe it to you. And if you want me to come with you tonight, I can resist my curiosity in favor of making up a debt to my family.
I think we should have it.
All right. Well, if you change your mind, I'll be here.
All right. See you soon.
Be careful. Give Abrea a big hug.
They'll give a huge hug back. Of course, we'll be perfectly fine. We got Shay, one of the strongest wizards in the world, and then we have the strongest creature in the world. We'll be fine.
All right.
Read this quickly.
He just like looks at his mom when he says the strongest wizard, just looking at his mom like.
Brea.
Yes.
She seems to be somewhere else at the moment. She's just kind of
Hopefully we won't
eating
be
her food.
away for too long, but here, just in case, I touch them on the shoulder and I say a prayer, and I'm gonna cast aid
Oh,
on you.
well, thank you.
Technically speaking, 3 of us can get it, so I'll just give it to Kashad as well and to Mare. So for 8 hours, it's not concentration. You have your hit point max and current hit points increased by 5.
Good. That felt nice. Thank you.
You're welcome. I look at No Name yet, but I have a smile on my face, but I just do this.
You hear a voice in your head that says, "Yes, I shall protect the youngling as I always do."
And I hold out like a big lion hand for a tiny little raptor arm fist bump.
I need to draw that. I need to draw that.
No name yet takes their head and kind of donk bumps their head into the fist bump.
That works too.
Small arms.
Oh, that's perfect.
Well, andiamo.
See y'all
We
soon.
can go.
And then, of course, they'll gesture at Leon and by in sign language.
I do the same.
So, you all are led about 10 minutes away from the castle by, the keep, from the keep by Triodon. Is there anything you all would like to talk about along that short trip?
I definitely just want to ask Triardon about all the. Let's see. Ask him about like the city and the. So how long has this keep stood? It's and it's surprising with all the, because the keep is still stone, right? That hasn't been transitioned to metal yet.
Yeah.
So why, when you have so many metal buildings, is the keep still stone? Is there a particular reason?
So Aubrey is no longer around, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he says, well, primarily because when they wanted to change it over, I told them to F off.
And why that reaction? I mean, I don't blame you for being passionate about your home. I feel like that's something we may have in common. But if the metal is superior, why not renovate?
Because the stone is more comfortable.
Ah. Okay. Is it... I admit, metal and metallurgy isn't necessarily my area of expertise. Is it, what about the metal makes it uncomfortable?
I have fond memories of stone keeps. I was born here, but I did not grow up here before I ascended to power.
Where did you grow up then?
I was a ward. The noble family. In a country that you might find familiar. It's called Dergonia.
And
I was raised there as a ward with one of the major noble families.
Well then, I admit I was not aware. Who did you stay with?
The Bloodbeards.
What do I know about the Bloodbeards?
Well,
lot.
you exploded into their house once upon a time.
Those dudes! It was those dudes! Okay, sorry, a second. Okay, yeah, those guys. Now, to be fair, their door exploded on me. I didn't explode into their house. That was...
Tomato, nacho, nacho.
I've never done anything wrong in my life. Are you kidding me? No. They're some of them are, I admit that I'm friends with, them. We've run into each other recently. It's a new friendship, but they are good people. A little eccentric, but seems like their hearts are in the right place.
He sort of laughs and he says, I'll take your word for it. A little bit easier to be friends with a chicken with its head cut off, if you ask me.
Well, I'm sorry your experience. Now again, I've only met them on a couple of occasions. So your experience is sure much more rich than mine.
All I know is I still cringe every time I see a crossbow. I mean, the father who I was warded with was always threatening people with that thing.
I've also been on the end of that crossbow. It's a formidable weapon, but I think maybe
he's crazy, you know. He shot me with that thing multiple times while I was there.
For what reason or purpose?
Lessons, apparently.
That seems a cruel way to teach a lesson, and seems ineffective since don't seem to remember the crossbow more than the lesson they were trying to teach.
Yes, well, I was fortunate enough to be blessed with the power of healing myself.
It's a very useful skill to have.
It's a tenuous relationship that I have with them. They were a lot nicer to me than a lot of people could have been, but I was not really there of my own volition either. I have a lot of respect for the men of that family, but not as much admiration, I suppose.
I think that's fair. You can respect somebody or something without admiring it or wanting to emulate it.
Indeed.
Did,
Although I do believe once upon a time, you accused me of emulating them in a manner of speaking, or did you no longer want to discuss my training methods?
I don't handle outdoors particularly well, and
Really? I hadn't noticed.
it sometimes puts me, I don't always think about the words that I say before they come out of my mouth when I'm not feeling comfortable. It's got me in, well, more trouble than this before.
That is unsurprising to me, I must confess.
But I was out of line speaking on something I don't really have experience with, and Jethrin actually was one to sort of educate me a little bit more on what it means to be a leader in a field like that, and the expectations that a ruler would have engaged in battle.
I am just teasing you. You are a good person, and in some ways that can often be rare as well.
Well, I try.
Indeed. So you all arrive at the site, and you see what looks like kind of like a modern crane, like smaller version of a modern crane. There's a large base that has a lever arm attached to it, and there's a piece of metal coming out of the lever arm. It's kind of difficult to understand what purpose it might be for. And you can see two people there. You can see two people there who are probably normally operating it, but they're not. It's currently not activated. And Triodon goes over and speaks to them to let them know to kind of start the process. And you see one individual who seems to be a mage places their hands onto a couple of specific points at the base of it. And then you see the other man who's like a pretty burly guy taking what looks like a stack of metal ingots and feeding them into the base of the machine. And you watch as the mage mutters some words in a arcane language. Some runes light up on the panels where they're touching the device. And you watch as, essentially, so that you can imagine this better, a building begins to be 3D printed by magic. The lever arm has the little nozzle coming out of it, and the lever arm moves all around the area that's being 3D printed and fires the metal that's being fed into the machine to take a particular shape based on the mage's mental blueprint of what they're trying to build.
That was exactly what I thought it would be when you described the beginning of it. And I'm like, okay, good.
I have a question, DM. Now that I am seeing this with my eyes, can I apply the logic from what they're doing to active creation to make it better?
Help me out here. Where are you going with this? Maybe.
Basically, I am seeing them use magic to make bigger things, because I assume this is how they make houses. So, can I use that to improve on like the structural integrity of things I create to make bigger things? Than 5 by 5 by 5.
Interesting. Very, very, very interesting. Roll me one of those intelligence checks you hate so much.
Can I do charisma though?
No, you may not.
Personality made it better.
I have one more sorcery point left. Can I spend a sorcery? Oh no, I don't have any more sorcery points at all. I rolled a 5. Can I have advantage? Can I have advantage? Is there a reason to have advantage? I don't think I have a reason to have advantage.
I'll give it to you.
Aww, sweet. A 7?
Time will tell. You'd have to try to apply the principles.
Oh god, my stomach.
If you get some spare time, you could try to practice.
I'm not playing a wizard ever again.
Can you multi-class as a wizard? I'd be like, might as well.
He's got to up his intelligence.
Oh yeah, that's
be a
true.
really
Get up here,
bad wizard.
yeah.
I would just be a really bad wizard and like a decent sorcerer.
That device is incredible.
Oh crap.
That is.
Indeed. It's actually not ours. We can't make more of them. We have a few mages that are capable of operating them, even fewer that are capable of repairing them when they become damaged. But we can't figure out how to make more of them.
I have a ridiculous idea, which is not so ridiculous. I don't know how heavy one of these things are, but if the negotiations and all the treaties work out as we hope they do, perhaps we could take one of these devices to the Isle and have them study it there. We would be able to recreate these in both of our kingdoms.
It's not a bad idea. The machines are pretty heavy and difficult to move. It usually takes a team of 10 mages working together to sort of lift them up and getting them to wherever they're going. But perhaps with a combination of
10 mages or 5 griffins.
Maybe. I was maybe thinking a warship, perhaps reinforced by our young friend Brea. Perhaps they could strengthen the wood well enough to allow the machines to be placed onto it.
Excellent idea.
Very clever plan.
We could definitely consider it. I'd be sending some of my mages, enchanters, and highsmiths to the Isle anyway, so we should be able to assemble a team of people that would also be appropriate for moving and caring for the device.
Think of how good I could make the warg enclosure with one of these.
I'm sorry, the what?
Oh, my project. I am working with some very talented individuals on creating, what would I call them even? Horse-sized rideable warhounds At this point in time, I happen to have a breeding pair of wargs.
Triodon says, "Oh, you dog." And that seems like a good place to end tonight's episode.
Perfect. What an episode.
And as you said earlier, he makes it clear in his intonation and body language that he's joking, just as
Yeah.
So we hope you enjoyed this episode so far. Again, if you like what you see here, make sure to join our Discord, where you'll see in the description section below. This was an excellent episode. So excited to be in Just a Car and extend some alliances. We're getting into the political side of this campaign, and I am so looking forward to this. Hope you enjoyed this as well, and we'll see you back for next week for our next episode of Reclamation. But until then, farewell for now.